Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Renovating My 120-year-old home. It's been a while since I last posted. Today, what I'm gonna do is try to finalize everything for this plumbing inspection, which includes adding a floor drain in the ensuite in case the washing machine overflows. There's a drain there. Finish up this bathtub drain. We did our pressure test, and there's no light down here, but we did our pressure test, and it's dropped around 2 psi in 2 days. And I think why that happened is because it's starting to get cold out. So the temperature difference makes the pressure go down a bit. But I'm gonna still go around, check for any leaks, and finalize, make sure that there aren't any. Set the pressure back up to 120, leave it for another few days, and go back to it and check. We need to get insulation in this house because cold weather's coming. It's already cold. I'm wearing a jacket already. So let's get started. So what I'm gonna do up there is I'm just gonna add a 2-inch to 1.5-inch Y that's gonna go this way. So the water slopes down into the drain, which is over there. So it's gonna slope down like this. Then I'm gonna put a 45 like this, put a straight piece, and then put my trap. So it shouldn't be too hard of a task to do. Okay, so I got this done. The trap comes down, goes into my 2-inch drain. I'm gonna put a stub out that goes into the hole and into the ensuite. So now that I did that, I'm gonna work on this shower drain. I'm gonna pop it up through there and make my connection for my vent. And then that should be done for all the drains in this house. Then I'm gonna go around, finalize anything for PEX, and the inspection should be ready to go. Okay, so little situation happened. So I had asked a relative of mine if he's able to go and purchase the bathtub that I need to install upstairs. So I sent him a picture of what I needed, and he went to the store, he bought it, he came here, and we were about to bring it upstairs, and then he goes, "You needed a right side drain, right?" I said, "No." He said, "The picture you sent me says right hand side drain." I said, "Oh my God." So it's the wrong one, and I'm not gonna install the right one today because they don't have the right one in stock. So it was my fault in the first place, but even if I was right, they still wouldn't have had it. So it's nobody's fault. I'm just saying that to make myself feel better. Anyway, so I'm not installing any of that today. But the situation is that I have my overflow drain here, and it has to go up there where I cut out that rectangle, right? recording is kind of difficult. The problem is that this vent is in the way back here. This one that runs here is in the way of my overflow side. I think what I need to do is buy this bathtub, have it here, and kind of see how much room I have to play with underneath the bathtub on the back side of the bathtub. So I think today's done. I got this floor drain in. I did my connection to my hose outside. I didn't record that. And tested all my pipes if they're leaking on my PEX lines. And this is the only thing that's stopping us right now from doing our inspection. Okay, it's another day here on the site. Today, I made a little list of what I'm gonna do. Actually, first I'm gonna show you what we got done on the weekend. I don't really record on the weekends just because I have my dad and my brother helping me out here. So we just kind of try and get things done. But the bathtub is installed in the ensuite. It's all covered up now because we don't want it to get dirty and scuffed up. But I did my connection down here. We used a direct drain for this shower because I have my vent that's running here. So we needed to kind of deviate somehow. So we used a direct drain, I think it's called. The floor drain of the tub goes directly into the trap and then tees off and goes into the overflow. So that's done. So you can't really see that. Okay. It says frame all supporting walls, meaning everywhere where there's water lines in the basement, because up here everything's fine. Everywhere in the basement where there's water lines that there's no wall to clamp the water lines to, I'm gonna add piece of wall where it needs to go. Basically, I'll show you downstairs. Add inspection caps. So here in Ontario, you need to fill up your plumbing, your drain lines filled with water. So then when the inspector comes, he can kind of knock on the pipes and see if there's water in there. And then you could check if there's leaks. So everywhere where you have a stub out, I don't know why it's not focusing. There we go. Everywhere you have a stub out, you're going to put one of these orange caps. And they just go on top, glue them in. And then after your test is done, you could just cut your pipe underneath. Toilet flanges. This is a bit of a problem. So up here, where my toilet flange goes into my floor, in theory, not in theory, it should have been stubbing out far past my subfloor, like these are. But that's not the case. I cut them lower than the subfloor, which is not good, and they're glued already. So I have to figure out what I'm gonna do with those. I'm gonna see my options. And then the last thing is to just add clamps and supports to my drains and my water lines, just anywhere that they need to be added. And then we should be ready for the inspection. Okay, so I got this framed up. It didn't take too long. And now what I'm gonna work on is in this washroom. We had to move our, I know it's a red pipe, but we ran out of blue. But we had to run our toilet line from the ceiling. I initially had it tying in there and then coming down because there was an existing pipe, and then it came up through there. The problem was we did our pressure test and I heard air coming out of somewhere, and the people who built this house first had put this copper pipe right flush with the top of the slab, which is possibly the stupidest thing you can do. Anyway, there's a huge hole in it, so instead of breaking up all the concrete and replacing the soldering, all that, we tied it in to my cold water from the sink here. Came up here, the blue line all the way, and then down to my toilet here. So it wasn't too bad, but now I just gotta frame this up, which also shouldn't take too long. Okay, so what I have to do here is, instead of putting my plate down on face like this, I need to put it like this. And that's because if I put it down like this and I take the measurement from that to the center of my flange, it's 11. And it should be 12.5 to center. So if I flip this up like this and then take my measurement, we're at 12.5. So I'm just gonna install it like this, put Tapcons to the face, and call it a day. Okay, this wall is done, framed up. Doesn't look the greatest, but does the trick. Keeps this nice and straight. Obviously facing in the wrong direction, but I'm gonna add a thing underneath. It's basically a clip that holds it up. That's like when we install a toilet. But that's it for this. I'm out of 2x4s, so I can't finish the back walls. So let's go take a look at the checklist and see what I checked off. I think I only checked off one thing, but let's go see. Okay, so if we look at the checklist, we can check off framing, add clamps. Now we have to do the flanges and adding the caps, which the caps shouldn't take too long. The flanges is probably going to take the longest. I'm going to do these kitchen ones first and make my way from there. Okay, so I just ran to my hardware store and I picked up a few things. I'm gonna show you kind of what my plan is for these toilets. Get the receipt. Okay. What I'm gonna do, couple. I'm gonna put a couple right at the end there. Boop. I'm gonna cut it a bit lower so this fits. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some 3-inch pipe, run it long above my subfloor. Then after the tiles are installed, I'm gonna put my flange in. I think that's the easiest way. And then if my couple, I don't know if it's called a couple or coupling. Anyway, if my coupling takes up too much space, meaning that it goes too high up to where I can't put my flange on my pipe because it's gonna hit the coupling first, I'm gonna buy the flanges that you put inside the pipe instead of the outside, which I think is better because there's probably less of a chance of a leak if you put it on the inside. I don't know, that's just my thinking. But I'm gonna cut that shorter. Add my couple with a longer piece of 3-inch and then cap it off so it's good for my inspection. Okay, so I just finished this. I put my couple on as close as it could go to my 45. And then upstairs, I'll show you what I did upstairs. I basically just put, like I said before, just a piece of 3-inch pipe going up on a Tuesday. Anyways, I just put a 3-inch pipe going up, and that's what it looks like. So I'm gonna run my tiles against this, and once my tiles are installed, I'm just gonna take my buzzsaw, cut flush to the top, install my flange that goes in the 3-inch pipe instead of around. And that's it for that. I put a cap on my floor drain for my laundry room. Laundry room is just where the laundry machine is gonna go. And I think that's it for up here. Of course, they have to run out of those 3-inch test caps at the hardware store. So I can't plug the one, oh my god, the one in the powder room today. And my inspection is either tomorrow or Wednesday. So I might have to go by tonight to another hardware store and see if they have it and install it tomorrow morning. But I'm gonna do the same thing that I did for the ensuite. I'm gonna do it over here. I'm gonna go downstairs, cut my pipe a bit lower. It's really dark. I'm basically gonna do the same thing down here as I did upstairs. And then over here, when I did this, it's already glued because I had my measuring, like I glued all of this contraption to go here for our bar. And I had to do this all because there was a stud here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a rubber coupling and then just put a 1.5-inch pipe out of that, put a cap on it. And then that should hold. I don't know if that's gonna be accepted during the inspection, but if it's not, it is what it is. So I'm gonna do that actually I'm gonna do this one here first, the bar, and then I'm gonna do the ensuite. I meant to say the powder room, not the ensuite. Okay, so I just added my plug here for the bar. So I just put rubber coupling on with a pipe, glued this on. So then this pipe that I have in here stays the same size. Then over here in the powder room, I did the same thing except without a coupling. I just glued my pipe longer than it obviously should be with a cap. I did the same thing as I did for my toilet upstairs. I glued a coupling, and then I just glued a 3-inch pipe going up. So I think we're all done and ready for the inspection. No, we're not. What I have to do is plug 2 more sinks. Okay, so you learn something new every day, because these orange test caps are apparently not supposed to be glued. Not that they're not supposed to be, but they're meant to be temporary, so you don't need to glue them. The reason why you don't want to glue them is if you're in a tight spot or something where then you can't get it out. But I'm just going to be cutting these. But yeah, you're not supposed to glue them. So for the last 2 that I have to do, I'm not going to glue them. And because they're friction fit, so you just push them in. That made sense. When I was gluing them, I was like, why is it so hard to get in? But they're friction fit, so you don't need to glue them. Anyway, let me go work on those 2 downstairs. Okay, so I added the 2 down here. Right here. I just screwed it on, put a piece with a cap, and I did the same thing over here. Twist on, glue, not glue the cap. So that pretty much, I think, wraps everything up for what I need for my plumbing inspection. I'm gonna go around, see if I need any more nailing plates. I already see one I have to add. And see if there's anything else left to do. But I think I should be ready for the inspection. So, I think that's it for this video. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Ciao. I forgot to mention that I could check off my to-do list. So, add inspection caps, done. Toilet flanges, done. Which means this whole thing is done. Ready for plumbing inspection. I hope we pass.